What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Games Talk Live. Jay Fonz here, of course, your host of the show. I've got a couple of good guests with me today, both returning guests, but I had to have Mr. Doc Dark on one more time. Doc Dark 1985, welcome back, man. Your first show here was awesome. Welcome.
I appreciate you having me back, Fonz. I know we were trying to do this earlier, schedules didn't work, but I really appreciate the invite again, man. I really do, because I had a lot of fun last time. So, I'm excited, man. A lot of things been going on this week, and we got to have some hard, cold truths come out because, it's going to be very interesting.
We're going to get some cold, hard truth there. You heard it from Doc, Mr. Forte, Gaming Forte himself for the DPS podcast, one half of the DPS podcast. Of course, the other half being Slow-Mo Backslap. Again, Slow-Mo, when you get on camera, you got to come to the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. But anyways, welcome, Forte. You're here now, and you've been here numerous times, man. You're one of the most, I think you and Colt are my top two guests, returning guests anyway. You've been on multiple times.
Listen, man, I appreciate you because your platform, like the one thing about your show is you're unique to yourself. Nobody else can do what you do because I love the retro vibe of this show. And
what is that? Being an old fool?
Hey, man, listen. That the intro by itself sells the experience. So I'm always glad to be here with you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to be here, and shout out to
Unique
Doc
is not always good, though, you know.
Yes, it is. It's very good because you don't look like nobody else. So, well, that's different.
Okay. There you go.
That's different.
There you go. But no, hey, welcome. What have you guys been up to lately? Like, what has Doc? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? All that stuff.
Oh man, I just finished Ghostwire Tokyo. So thanks to Game Pass, of course.
Trash.
Thank you so much. And I actually liked it. I also finished Atomic Heart, and I actually liked it too. A lot of people didn't like that one either.
Oh wow.
Trek to Yomi, I finished that. I like that as well. But right now, I'm currently playing Titanfall 2, and oh my god, this thing is amazing so far.
Wait, hold up. You did not play Titanfall 2 back in the day?
No, man. I did not. So I get to play
great experience. Great
scale,
experience. I'm glad you're doing that.
120 frames if I want to. Thank you, Xbox. Yeah. So I'm having a good time. Thing. And then besides that, the other thing I'm doing is I'm representing Kid Smooth in his legal battles that he's about to have. Ooh. So yeah.
Ooh.
Hey man.
You heard that, folks. And what are those legal battles? What's going on?
Well, he might have said
pretending
something.
Like I don't know.
Yeah. He might have said something that might have been taken, a little bit too far out of context, and you got himself in some trouble. But we're gonna smooth it out for Kid Smooth. He's got to pay me the retainer first, and then we're gonna go ahead and go from there. But yeah.
Oh man.
Wow. One thing about Doc, I gotta say, guys, is Doc is all about Game Pass, and he plays those games in Game Pass, and my hat's off to you. You walk the walk, sir. You not only talk that talk, but you walk the walk. And I appreciate that. You're a real one.
Fonz, how long have you been playing on Xbox?
I've been playing on Xbox since the OG Xbox, and I've been there since day one.
You too,
Day zero, actually. I was there live beta.
Day zero.
Okay. We gotta finish the Forte's intro, but I got a question for both you gentlemen.
Yeah, that was the year that
go ahead and ask away, and I'll ask Forte. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
You want me to go ahead? Okay.
I'm good. Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
So here's the thing, right? What is Xbox? Is Xbox the console? Because when you really think about it, damn, they both went, okay, I'm going to just let it rock.
No. I love this question. I love
the question. Okay. You know what? Go ahead.
Let me finish saying that up.
Let him finish the question. I want to hear this.
Because when you hear Sony, Sony is not just PlayStation. When you think PlayStation, you think console. When you think Xbox nowadays, do you think console first? So I just want to know from your guys' perspective, what is Xbox? Because that's going to translate into what Kid Smooth is saying. But go ahead, gentlemen.
So I'll go first. So it really depends on when and the era that you're talking about. See, we started.
It
depends on your. I came from the beginning, so Xbox was all about online for me, like literally online, the ecosystem, friends. I still have, of all the people in my friends list, I still pretty much have like over 100 people that I literally played with on my friends list from 20 years ago. So that ecosystem still matters, and I have, like, I'm really good friends with a lot of those people. And then just Halo. Halo has always been what Xbox is. So shooters has always been the number one thing for Xbox for me, which tied into the online portion of it. Now, if you're talking about today's Xbox, it's all Game Pass. Today's Xbox is completely different than what the Xbox was 20 years ago. That Xbox that's not even the same. It's not even recognizable to what Xbox used to be. But Xbox now is more of a platform than it is a singular thing like a console anymore. It's an ecosystem now. That's what it's trying to morph into.
I agree 100%.
What do you think,
It's an ecosystem. It's basically because they've changed over the years. In the beginning, I would have 100% agreed. Xbox was the console and the games that they provided to that console. But you have to remember, back in the OG Xbox days, they provided a lot of multiplats that they would, acquire as exclusives and stuff like that. Over the years, they've gradually changed. They've gotten, a few studios here and there. And as they've gotten bigger and now become a subscription model, especially, it is more about what you play on that subscription service rather than where you play that subscription service. So it has become nothing but more of an ecosystem than anything else. And it's just what it is.
Okay, we got to dig down a little bit deeper now. Hold on now.
Well,
okay.
Wait, before you go, I will tell you this, though, going on top of that, Xbox now is more of what Microsoft is as a whole than what Xbox used to be 20 years ago. So if you look, that's the way when they went into the direction of Game Pass, the first thing I thought of, and the reason I didn't have a problem with it is because I felt like Xbox went towards the core competencies of what Microsoft is. If you think about what they are, it's a service-based company built. That's how they built their billions of dollars and their trillions of dollars off of services and ecosystems and stuff like that. Xbox has finally, I hate to say graduated, but they have finally been invited to that same table. And that's where they sit at now. So that's where most of the changes happen. It's not the fact that Xbox is completely different, but the way that you consume the Xbox product is completely different than what they wanted you to consume 20 years ago.
Well, there's so much more choice now. And that is the biggest thing. It's like they don't care where you play as long as you're playing Xbox. And I don't see a problem in that. However, I will say that I do not want to see Xbox get rid of consoles because I think that they're still a very necessary thing, at least throughout at least another generation, at least.
Okay. Right. Can you gentlemen separate Xbox and Game Pass? Because it almost sounds like you're talking about them interchangeably. What would Xbox be without Game Pass then?
Would they still have? Would they have still? This is a question. Would they? So was Xbox the reason they went out and bought Bethesda? Well, or was Game Pass the reason they went out and bought Bethesda?
Well, I don't know. You know more than me. I don't know.
I'm just
That's
saying,
a good question.
Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Because I felt like Game Pass is the reason, because they said we got to fight a different fight than everybody else is fighting. We can't fight the same fight that Nintendo has, because Nintendo's selling 35, 40 million copies per game of everything in their first party. PlayStation's out here doing 10 to 15. Now they're getting up to the 20 millions. Xbox hasn't been able to reproduce that over the course of their games, so they had to find a way to get people into their games and get their overall engagement numbers up. So is the purchase of Bethesda a symptom of Xbox not being able to sell their games at the normal clip as other places, or would they have still made those purchases even if Game Pass wasn't a thing?
No,
that's a good
I don't
point.
think so.
No, I don't think so either.
And that's ultimately where that's how you can't really separate it, because it depends on what would have happened if they never would have purchased them. Because Xbox, I think, Microsoft probably be out on Xbox if that wasn't something that they actually did.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to make the chat real clear, what Kid Smooth said was Microsoft should sell Xbox to Apple. Now, the way that we're describing Xbox, it would be Xbox and Game Pass, which at that point, I don't think that's what he was meaning. I mean, he's not here to talk to himself, but I think the console is what he was worried about, because it all stemmed from the information that came out about Sony selling 40 million consoles, right?
But even mentioning that, selling to Apple, then it's no longer Xbox.
That's correct. That's correct. I said that in my video. Correct. I said that in my video. I don't see how.
And you don't want to sell to Apple at all, because Apple usually fucks.
We would hurt. Up. Oh yeah, we would hurt so bad. Oh man, it would be ridiculous.
And man, talk about over monetization of something. They would definitely try to nickel and dime you every which way they could.
There'd definitely be $1,000 system out there if it was Apple.
So for you gentlemen that have been here since day one, right? This is the Series X is the generation that I've jumped into Xbox. So I'd say it all the time. I don't know. Yes.
So you were mainly a Sony guy, right? Back in the day?
Correct.
Okay.
And I thought I was a gamer. But once I got into this community, like, no, I would play my third person over the shoulder every once in a while action game. And I thought they were amazing. And that I would consider myself a gamer until I got into this community and I saw how people actually really game. But this generation, I went ahead and got the Series X and really jumped into the Xbox ecosystem. So I understand the whole ecosystem concept, because that's what's keeping me.
So let me ask you something real quick. I got to pause you right there, because you said you understand the ecosystem now.
Yeah.
Well, why don't those other Sony guys understand that? They can't fathom that. You tell them the reason why you're playing Xbox is the ecosystem. They get really upset about that. And they say, that's ridiculous. It's not a reason.
Right. Well, one of the arguments, and my brother says it all the time. There's a difference between what you can do and what you will do, right? So the fact that you can play on your phone is a difference between whether you will play on your phone. The fact that you can play on your PC the same game in the cloud saves, there's a difference between whether you will play on your PC. Now, I can be 100% honest with you. 95% of the time when I'm playing Xbox, I'm playing on my console, But here's the big kicker, okay? That's me as a 38-year-old man. I have 3 children, okay? You wouldn't catch me playing xCloud on my console. I would download the game. However, my son, Juju, that's 9 years old, or that's 8 years old, when he was over here visiting, I would come home from work and I would see across my Xbox dashboard a whole bunch of games. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm playing them. He would play them on the cloud. It didn't bother him one bit. They don't understand the concept of downloading or whatever, right? So right there, the value of the ecosystem, even if it's not something that I'm using, is intrinsic into my children. And then I went ahead and I purchased an Asus ROG Ally, okay? Instantly, I had a library of games that I could download, because I could download those games to the actual platform as well. So it went from can to will. And today, I beat Atomic Heart on my Asus ROG Ally, which is on Windows 11. I beat Trek to Yomi on my Asus ROG Ally as well. So I downloaded Titanfall 2 as well on my Asus ROG Ally, because what I do is when I'm done playing here, if I go upstairs to my bedroom, I got my Asus ROG Ally up there. I'll turn it on to cross save because of the ecosystem. It's beautiful. It's flawless. They don't understand that. The Sony fan base doesn't understand that, but Sony themselves do. And that's why that Q Lite thing is coming out. It's another part of their little ecosystem. They're just not as expansive as...
You know what Sony reminds me of lately? Sony reminds me of Apple. And here's what I'm talking about. Here's the analogy I'm going to use. Xbox is kind of like Android. They're innovating. They're pushing things forward. They're trying to create new, lanes in the gaming industry. And then you have Apple coming out with things a little bit late and then saying, look at the innovation, look at the tech. And then finally it's like the users over there go, wow, look at that. We finally got this, and it's like, and they try to act as if it's something brand new.
Yeah. Right.
And it's funny to me, but it's the fanboy thing. Fanboys are affected by certain things, and it makes me laugh. Some people call me a fanboy, but I'm definitely not. I don't look at these consoles the way a lot of these guys do. For me, it's about the games. And I will also add, it is about the ecosystem as well. I like the fact that Xbox gives me more choice. I love the fact that I can go to PC. I can play these games on PC. Or I can stick to my console.
How can someone be upset with that? I don't understand it. Like, I got no idea. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can literally go on vacation, go visit your grandma, go visit your aunts, your uncles, whatever. If they got a computer, you can log onto the web browser and play whatever game you want. And all you got to do is take a controller with you. Like, why would someone complain about that? Facts. Why would you complain about that option? And that's what
because it's not that console that's not selling as well as mine. That's why. That's the whole thing for them. It's about console sales for them.
And Fonz, that's what scares me about Sony, is because I think Sony knows that the console gravy train is not as lucrative as it used to be. They got to figure out other ways.
We're going to get into this later. But let's get back to Forte really quick. Forte, what have you been playing lately, brother?
Oh, man. I took a break from Diablo because they keep nerfing my builds.
Heard about that.
They nerfing my builds over there, man. I'm like, come on, y'all killing me. So I've been playing that, so I'm a little bit off of that. I started playing Remnant 2 with shout out to Slow-Mo and
Heard it's good.
It's good, bro. Yeah, I
heard it's hard though. They really pushed heavily on that Souls.
If you're playing solo, it's ridiculous. But if you're playing in co-op with other people, it's really, really good. Oh, well, it's good in general, but it's a little bit more manageable. But yeah, I've been playing that, and then I just started playing Final Fantasy VII on PC because I want to get through that before Rebirth comes out at the end of the year. Because I skipped it on PlayStation. I have it on PlayStation, but since the PC version was like on sale for like $30, I was like, cool. And guess what? When I get my ROG Ally, I can play it on my ROG Ally too.
You sure can.
So that's what I've been kind of doing, just doing that, and also just working on YouTube stuff. Put out 2 videos last week, so
nice.
The normal things, man.
Nice,
definitely.
Well, real quick, I just want to say, because I know he may be listening, but shout out to Alan, my new son-in-law. My daughter got married yesterday, and so I was partying last night, and did the whole walk her down the aisle thing, had a blast.
Oh man, that's nice.
Just a great, beautiful thing. It was a good, beautiful distraction from everything else going on personally in my life, but it was real beautiful. Shout out to them. Congrats to them.
How long did it take? Okay, because I have she just graduated high school.
No. She's been out of high school for.
No, I'm talking about mine.
Oh, yes.
So I'm thinking. So my first one just graduated high school. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm getting closer and closer to that day when it finally happens. How long did it take you to basically accept this the individual,
this Allen guy?
It was kind of quick because this guy was a really good guy, and also we kind of bonded over gaming as well. He's a gamer.
Is he an Xbox or a Sony gamer?
He likes both. He plays both. He doesn't have any. He doesn't align with either. He likes both. He's a lot like I am in that way. He just likes the games. Big gamer. He's more into multiplats than he is into like the Sony titles or.
Oh, let's go. I like him. Yeah, good job, Alan. Alan, good job, Alan.
Yeah, he likes the multiplats.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
but Xbox is the place to go, Alan. They're about to buy everything. They can't stop.
Yeah. No, he wants to buy a Series X for sure. He wants to get a Series X. Right now, he's got a Series S. So, yeah, he's got the little potato, as some would call it. Let me get to these super chats right quick. JD Gamer, thank you very much with the $5 super chat. I don't want to cover you up there. He says, "Hey Forte, Fonz, Doc, did somebody say Dark Phil was in the house? I think Xbox getting back with their X. Nothing like getting that old thing back." Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, me and JD was at my job today with me. We were arguing about the whole Kid Smooth thing.
Oh, JD was there?
Yeah, he came up there today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. I like that. All right. Mark from the Just Gaming Podcast. Thank you very much, Mark. He says, hey, Fonz, great panel today. Looking forward to you guys take on things. Chat, hit that like. Yeah, hit the like for me, please.
Hit that like. Hit the like. Yes, sir.
I would appreciate that. JD Gamer again. Thank you very much, man. He says, panel, I want to pose a question to all of you. If you were Phil, I think he's asking, if you, Phil, what would you do to sell more consoles and then sell more? Wait, what is he saying here? More companies?
Sell more companies on games?
Game Pass subscribers, and I want my Sega. Would you rather sell more consoles or acquire more companies, maybe? Is that what you're trying to say, JD Gamer? If that's what you're trying to say, that's a great question. He says he wants Sega. For me, personally, I think the whole acquisition thing, I think they could slow down on that. That's just me personally. I think what they need to do is start delivering really good, solid titles and franchises. And also, you don't have to acquire studios just by acquiring the studio. You can acquire exclusive games from them. Or you could even just say, hey, we don't even have to make your game exclusive. Just bring it to Game Pass.
Right.
And here's the good thing about that. Everybody gets to experience the game and you get it for $15 a month, $16 a month, where they have to pay $70 on that other console. And mark my words, more and more gamers will think about that aspect as it goes along and they see more multi-plats going into Game Pass. They're going to go, wait a minute, if I could get all those games over there in Game Pass, why am I spending $70 a pop on the PlayStation or even my Switch? Why am I doing that?
Oh, man.
What are we going to talk about, the whole ownership thing? Because let's be real. A lot of these people ain't playing old games. Remember that? We don't play old games?
Oh, speaking of which, people playing old games, I had a person literally come into the store yesterday, trade in they traded in their PlayStation 4 for a Xbox Series X because they wanted to play the older Call of Duties because his friend called him and said, yo, you can play. He said they're back compat to the older Xbox. He said, well, can I play it on my PlayStation 4? He was like, no, PlayStation 3 games are native to the PlayStation 4, so you got to get an Xbox. So my man, so instead of trading in his PlayStation 4 to get a PlayStation 5, he came into the store and was like, I need to get a Series. He said, which one is the one that uses the disc? I said, the Series X. He was like, let me get that one. And he said, you got Call of Duty Black Ops 2? I said, yeah. I said, not the new one. He was like, I really don't like the newer ones. He said, I like playing the older ones and stuff. And that's what me and my friends play all the time.
Damn.
And I was like, literally sold an Xbox off of old games.
That's funny.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, that's a multi-plat, so I can understand some people liking some of the older online multi-plat games. That can happen. But I'm talking about when we're talking like a third-person action-adventure type of game. A lot of these people don't play these games even twice, let alone 3 or 4 times. Like they love the fact that they press you on, oh, you rent games over there in Game Pass. Well, I own my game. Okay, congrats. You have a plastic box in your closet. Who cares? Like at the end of the day, if you're not using it, it's a coaster, man. Like
as much as
I don't care.
As much as I love God of War, and that's my favorite franchise on PlayStation, I've only beaten each God of War one time. I've never went back and played them again. As much as I keep saying, I'm gonna go back and do this, and I kept saying when Ragnarok was about to come out, I told myself, I was like, I'm about to go back and replay because I had rebought it on PC, and I said I'm about to go ahead and replay the first one on PC before Ragnarok come out. Guess what I did? Not play the first one.
Yeah, I mean,
you play Vampire Survivors instead.
And if you were old head like me, if you were an old head like me or Forte here, or I got to tell you, back in the day, no matter if you pride yourself on owning games today or not, you were at Blockbuster renting those video games as a kid.
You were.
It's what you did.
You had the deal. You had
I look at Game Pass
that was crazy.
No differently, except the fact that I get the convenience of renting from my chair in my living room, and I'm down for that. Like, give me all these games in my living room like that on one subscription service. I'm there.
If I was to answer the question the way that JD asked it, I'm more with you, Fonz, on the fact that I want Microsoft to focus more on games than purchasing other studios. Now, if I was Phil, if I was Darkfield, I would walk Darkfield, because this is what I would do. If I was Phil, I'll be like, PlayStation tried to take Starfield away from us X amount of years ago, and we had the Thanos snap them out of existence to say we're going to buy that from them instead. I would go to Take-Two and be like, remember when that during the case file when they were talking about Jim Ryan said, well, we can buy 3 Call of Duties for the price that, and just pay like $3-4 billion, and we could just buy the next 3 Call of Duties and have them exclusive to our platform. If I was Phil, I'd be like, hey, Take-Two, Take-Two, 1.5 billion Game Pass exclusive for Game Pass exclusive. 6-month exclusivity to Xbox for the next Grand Theft Auto.
Here's the thing, though. Why even go that route? Why
because the reason I say go that route is because
to sell the subscription.
Just to sell the subscription, because guess what? You say Game Pass day one, and then 6-month exclusivity. So there's no choice. You either going to buy it on Xbox, or you're going to get it to Game Pass.
And that's like extreme, though, right?
No, it is extreme. But if I'm thinking as a person that wants to build
that, I know. And
if I want to get that number to
that's your dark Phil, yeah.
Because
he's answering the question.
That's your dark.
There's no other game other like they're already going to have Call of Duty, and we already know the 10-year deal and everything like that. So it's not like it's coming away from PlayStation. So there's only one game out there outside of Call of Duty that can make a mass exodus of people jumping to make you jump into that subscription service or buy your console, and that's your Grand Theft Auto. And if I looked at it,
100%.
You would not make the money back that you're going to spend in order to get people over to your ecosystem. But what you will do is, over the long term, we all know how people think. By the time Grand Theft Auto comes out, it's not going to come out to the next generation anyway. And when's the best time to convert people over? The next generation.
Well, I wouldn't even need to go that dark. All I would need to do is just say, hey, we'll give you some money just to put it on Game Pass day and date. And that'll drive a lot of people to go to Game Pass rather than buying it on the PlayStation. Again, a big game like that in Game Pass, that's huge. It's not going to drive a lot more people than, say, your scenario would, because, of course, you make it exclusive to Game Pass. It's people are going to go to that service for sure. Everybody's going to do it, because I have a feeling that
Final Fantasy and everything else, we need to play dirty too.
Yeah, I have a feeling that GTA 6, I mean, it's a no-brainer feeling, really. I think we all feel this way. It's going to sell the most out of any game ever.
That thing's going to be ridiculous.
Going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Yeah,
let me finish these chats here. I've got Ultraman. He says, "What's up, Fonz? What's up? It's good to see you, bro. Glad to see you here, man." Jax82. He says, "I don't understand Sony fans, and I play on both." See, some people just don't understand them. I'm telling you, there's some narratives I don't even understand from Xbox guys. I'll be real, man. But it's just it's the extreme fanboys. My crowd here that comes to this show are pretty good people.
Fonz, this generation though, like every Sony narrative has been destroyed. It's been ridiculous.
They have.
It's got to be rough to be a PlayStation fan. Like even the SSD,
bro. Oh, we're gonna get into that. Hold your tongue on that one. That's going to be a big topic right there. One of the big reasons why I really wanted you on too is that topic right there. That's huge. JD Gamer, thank you very much again. He says, Sony got shaky legs. Look at their history, like Circuit City, from number 1 to none. I remember Circuit City. I loved Circuit City back in the day. Sony looks, sounds, and is acting like that company before their demise. Who knows? Jim Ryan is really not doing that great of a job, in my opinion. I thought he was. At first I was like, Jim knows what he's doing. He may not be a gamer, but he's a business guy, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like Phil is outclassing him there too. And I think it comes down to that check, that money.
That's what I was going to say. I agree. Phil Spencer is goated out here right now with all the stuff that he's doing, especially with the conversation we're going to talk about.
Not even just the money. Not even just the money. But the guy does fly around trying to get deals done and stuff. And he
does. He does.
Right.
But the thing is, Phil Spencer is out there in the public. So we know what Phil Spencer is doing compared to like the Sony executives. Yep. Like they could be doing the same thing, but you'll never know. But let's be for real. The checkbook, once the checkbook dropped, it made Phil Spencer's job a lot easier. We got
Jim Ryan here watching.
Oh, shout out to Jim Ryan.
What up?
Jim Ryan's here, folks.
What's up, Jim? What's up,
Jim? No. Seriously though. Let me get to these other two here. Brigadier's Blue, thank you very much. Every week sends a $5 super chat, and I appreciate you so much for the support, brother. He says, finally able to catch a show. Been a crazy few weeks, so I'm glad to have time to watch now. Looking forward to another great episode of GTL. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. And then I got one from Pat F. He says, here to show some love. Congrats on your daughter's wedding, Fonz. Love hearing Forte talk about Dark Phil. Of course, love hearing Forte talk about anything. These gentlemen are both great. It's good to have you guys here. And Pragmatic Eagle, I see you out there, brother. Earlier he stated something, and man, what was it? And he was so on point. Anyways, I forgot what it was, but the guy's always on point. Read his stuff when he types in the chat. Like I really agree with Pragmatic Eagle a lot. He's a very smart gentleman out there. Good to see you guys. Good to see all you guys. Let's get into the first topic, and that, of course, is Tencent being the majority shareholder now of Techland, the developers behind Dying Light. So they're now teaming up with Tencent, and they have said this. I guess they're saying that it'll allow them to move full speed ahead with the execution of the vision of their upcoming games. Forte, it's Tencent. We know the horrors of Tencent. Do you think this is a good thing for Techland? Because they're at least pretending it's a good thing.
What are the horrors, though? I don't know the horrors. What are the horrors?
I'll let you know some of the stuff.
Yeah, it's some horrors out there, but the question is, do they have a choice?
Exactly, right? Is it more of a takeover, or is this like...
Yeah.
Because they bought majority stake in... they're the majority shareholder now. So
right.
What can they do?
So at a certain point, they may not like it, but it's just like with anything else. If you're a publicly traded company and somebody wants to become the majority ownership, unless there's certain companies out there that you can't do that with. But it might just be, Dying Light, it did okay. I thought it was a pretty good game, especially if I like the dynamic of the day and night cycle. Really good looking game. It took forever for it to come out. But in general, it just ultimately comes down to, you see all of these different entities out there buying things. You see what Microsoft is doing with their acquisitions. Sony done the same thing. So it's just it's ultimately all these little studios, especially if they're struggling, they're looking for these little bags and stuff like that. So it may not be the fact that they wanted Tencent to do it, but if Tencent's coming to the table and nobody else is, and you're having issues with whatever is going on inside the company, as long as the money is right, most of these companies are going to take that bag and just say, hey, it is what it is. But it doesn't lock you in. See, that's the thing. I think Sony did the best thing when they said with Bungie, they said, we're going to give you X amount of dollars and we're also going to give you more to keep the talent there. The thing that you see with a lot of these other companies, it even happened with Microsoft with Tango Gameworks. I forget the creator's name. He ended up leaving after wasn't it because he said he wanted to do something else. That's what you're going to start seeing at a lot of these companies. I wouldn't be surprised at Techland if you see a lot of people leaving.
Now, remember, that guy mentioned he was leaving back in 2019.
Yeah, he mentioned a while ago.
He announced his retirement before.
That's what I'm saying. That just happened to be something that happened. And like you said, we talked about it on the RDX and everything. Yeah. But you're going to see that happen with a lot other studios when people start getting acquired. They're going to be like, okay, they're tired of what they're doing now, and they kind of want to start smaller, being able to build something completely new. Because guess what? Techland, once you build something like Dying Light, what happens? They want you to build something bigger. And then once it's just like with
but this is Tencent that basically they didn't acquire them, but they've basically taken over, and they
don't acquire anybody really.
Yes, but they have the power to tell them
they do.
Yeah,
what to do
in a vote. They got the majority of the vote. Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. So as the CEO of Techland even mentioned that that they will still have full ownership of their intellectual properties and have maintained their creative freedom, which I call bullshit on that part.
Of course,
I don't think they're going to maintain their creative freedom as
not
much
if it's
as
not
they
making
think
money.
they will.
Not if it's not making money,
because that's all Tencent cares about.
Right.
It's about making profit. And that is one of the horrors I was going to tell you about, Dark, is the fact that Tencent is notorious for sort of taking over companies and trying to get them to make games that make them the most potential revenue. Whether that is copying a game, like going out and copying Fortnite, let's say, or even taking code from a game, even stealing code. They've done that and had developers use full code on a game and just change some certain aspects of the game to try to mask what they're trying to do. But it's essentially the same freaking game as something else that's really popular. That's one of the things they do a lot of.
So my thing with this whole Tencent thing is, I remember when they came out, and I even made a video about it. I didn't understand why there wasn't a big outrage for this, but then when Microsoft does something, there's a big outrage, right? And then somebody said, well, it's Tencent planning on taking games away from a specific console, right? And then that really bothered me, because here's the thing. There's two camps out there that try to blur the lines as far as to why they're anti-Microsoft buying Activision. The first camp is that consolidation period is bad, right? And then the other camp is that Microsoft taking a game off of a console is bad. But if you believe in that, if you're saying that Microsoft having, essentially what you're saying is that Microsoft having exclusives is bad, then how could you be pro Sony? Because Sony survives off of exclusives, right?
Yeah.
And if you stand on the no, consolidation is bad, then you should be against consolidation everywhere in gaming. Why wouldn't you be? Explain to me how this drives competition, because that's another argument they say. Microsoft buying Activision, it doesn't drive competition. They're not building anything organic. Okay, well, explain to me how this provides competition if Tencent is buying everything and they're going to make money from multiple revenues of stream from gaming, period, right? So I just don't understand. And that's another situation where these narratives just keep falling apart, you know?
That reminds me of when Colin Moriarty, shout out to Colin. I have no ill will towards that man. I actually like Colin, and I like listening to a lot of his takes. But I thought he was way off base when he was talking about why did they acquire Ninja Theory? Like, that was like a dumb move. And I'm thinking to myself, for variety. Of course, you have a subscription service. You have subscribers to give games to within that service or sell those games to. You need variety in a service like that. So, of course, you acquire different types of studios. You don't just go after the one genre which they were known for, which is the shooter box, and leave it at that. Now, I mean, if you look at how many different types of genres they have in the Xbox ecosystem, it's massive.
It's ridiculous.
It is crazy. They've got everything. And now they're going after Japanese studios too. Like, look out. Sony's going to be hurting a bit.
Yeah, it's the conversation that all PlayStation gamers were saying 5 years ago. Like, what's the identity of Xbox? Where's the variety at? And Xbox has completely flipped that on his head at this point.
Why do you so much so that they're not just known as a shooter box anymore?
Let me ask
it's the whatever box.
Yeah, let me ask you, Dark.
Yeah.
Why do you have to have an identity at all as a corporation? In the video game service, like in this industry, why do you have to have an identity? Why is it so important to be either the looter shooter box or the box that gives you third-person action adventure games? Because that could be a knock as well. It's not a positive to everybody. Not everybody likes third-person action adventure games.
It could be, but when you focus on something specifically, sometimes you tend to do it a lot better when you just focus on that aspect. Like, I'll use music as an example, right? You'll see rappers like Lil Wayne that are amazing at rapping decide to put out a rock album, and it's like, hey, bud, don't do that. Don't do that. You stick to what you know. I understand that you're artistic. I understand that you're great and your mind is amazing, right? But stick to what you know. Some artists are able to do it. Some athletes are even able to do it as well. Like, look at Michael Jordan tried to play baseball. It's like, hey, go back, right? But then you got people like Bo Jackson. Some people might not know who that even is.
Bo Jackson.
Right? But
Bo knows.
He was an enigma, bro. Bo Jackson was something else.
Right, but typically when you focus on one thing, you can become great at that one thing.
That is a great point.
Yeah,
that's basically a jack of all trades, master of none, right? That's that scenario.
Right. So the problem is people aren't realizing Microsoft is focusing on one thing. They're focusing on the ecosystem.
But one could argue the main thing. So you have a lot of gamers out there on the Sony side that'll tell you, well, you know, when it comes to Sony, it's about the games. That is their exclusive games. That is their identity, right? And it's like, yeah, but it's one genre of exclusive games over and over. It's like copy and paste.
Listen, when I said my joke about Spider-Man 2 is going to have a bow and arrow, do you know how many people laughed at? Because every single game out there right now with Sony, there's a bow and arrow in it. That's like one of their concepts that they like. But no, yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's different, but copy and paste. But I don't even know why they even tried to deny it. But you cannot say that Xbox is not about games with everything that they're doing. When, especially the Final Fantasy thing that's happening right now, how are you going to say it's not about, even if it's not a game that I like, somebody out there might be an Xbox fan out there that might be looking forward to this. So there's something for you with Xbox. Sony does not have a first-party multiplayer game at all, period. Shout out to my dude, King Thrash. I saw how many games he's been beating lately, and I was thinking like, damn, it must suck not to have a multiplayer that you actually like. In between my games, I'm playing Halo Infinite still. That takes away my time from pleading all for, single-player games or whatever. We got multiplayer games to play that are Xbox titles.
Yeah,
it's different.
We got people in the chat stating this, and I 100% agree. I remember in the OG Xbox days, they always had variety back then. Like, and if you think about it, even through the 360 era, they may have been the shooter box, but they also had Mass Effect. They had Fallouts. They had all these games that were just different variety, different genres. They weren't just one thing. I never understood like the whole argument though. And that's why I asked you, Dark, the whole argument about, oh, what's their identity? Our identity is the games. And it's like, your identity is one type of game done over and over.
This is fact.
And it's not a bad thing to me because I love that. And that's why I buy your box for that game. I do. I buy a PlayStation 5 because I love those third-person action adventures. But I also realize that your narrative sucks. It's dumb.
It does. And they're remaking the same games. Remastering them. This is a different level. They're not even remaking and remastering games that people want. Like they're like straight to their face. Like they're just gonna remake it, remaster it. Like what? Yep. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know, man. But the identity thing, yeah, right now, I think the crisis of identity, honestly, Fonz and Forte, and I'm actually very impressed with both you gentlemen that you were able to answer what is Xbox like the way that you did. I think the identity is between the old Xbox fans and the newer Xbox fans like me. Like, I understand that it's the ecosystem and I'm not hurt by it. But there's Xbox fans out there that want Microsoft to focus on the console. Forget PC, forget cloud, forget everything. Just focus on the console.
Have those
you know
people.
What I mean?
And
those days gone.
I kind of... I understand where they're coming from as console-only gamers. I myself have been a console-only gamer for a long time. Back when I was playing PC, this was at the beginning of World of Warcraft, like the first two iterations of World of Warcraft, the expansion, which was, I think, I went up to the Lich King. That was the last time I played PC.
Okay.
I went through Burning Crusades, all that. But after that, like, I got tired of tinkering all the time with PC. Because I would sit there and back then it was a different thing. Like, I don't know if it's so bad today. I have a lot of PC friends that tell me it's not as bad today as it used to be. I used to always have to download drivers. Like, some games just wouldn't work, and I'd just be sitting there frustrated trying to get something to work. And or frustrated that my PC just couldn't handle it because I'm trying to push it too hard. So I'm lowering shadows all the way down, lowering all this stuff just to get 60 frames. Because that's when I did notice that, frame rate is king back then. I was like, it's all about the frame rate. But yeah, I got tired of it, went back to consoles. So I understand what they're getting at in a way. that's why I stated earlier, I don't want them to deviate from the console. I want them to still provide consoles for those people. But I think the fact that they allow PC gamers to play on PC is amazing. It's awesome, day and date. And I wish PlayStation would do the same. Eventually they will. I mean, you saw what they did. They were waiting a couple of years or 3 years to release something. Now it's a year's time. It's getting smaller. That window, it's going to continue to get smaller because they're going to make a lot of money on PC. And that's what's going to rule the industry. At the end of the day, that's what rules companies, right? Making money.
If PlayStation figures out a way to put their first-party games day and day on that subscription service, but they got to do it before Microsoft grows too big with their Game Pass. Because if they do that, that PlayStation Plus will then be something to reckon with.
Yeah.
Then it'll be something really big to reckon with. And then now, what is the identity of PlayStation at that point, right? Because now, and that's the other thing too. Sometimes it's a fan, like Sony does it themselves. I feel like they don't want to be locked into that console box as much as their fans want them to be locked in. They're doing other things to try to get out. Like people act like Sony doesn't have a cloud streaming service. They do. You can stream PlayStation games, PlayStation Plus games on your PC right now. Now it's not great, whatever, but it is an option. They're putting games on PC as well. And like you said, Fonz, once they'll start putting games day and day, like they're testing the waters because it just makes sense, man. It just makes sense at this point, you know? So
yeah, I just got a dislike right after you said that, by the way. That was fun. My program, you can actually see the dislikes and likes, right? Real time. And I seen a dislike just fly across my screen as soon as you finished. JD Gamer, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, Dark Phil out here exposing Sony's shaky legs.
Shaky legs.
Wow, that's funny. JD Gamer again, thank you very much, brother. He says, Microsoft was going to buy Techland, but Microsoft got distracted with ABK and Techland needed money now.
That's funny.
So Microsoft missed out on the studio they had a relationship
Same
with.
thing. Hey, same thing happened with Square.
Well, wait. Maybe you gentlemen can answer this for me. Why do you not want Microsoft to keep buying more things?
So it's not that I don't want them to.
No,
I just don't want them to right now because they have so many studios right now. Can we please get, like, if they was we got Starfield coming out. Can we at least get through the rest of this year and at least half of next year? At least get some games out because I feel like at a point now the whole
from the studios that they already have.
Yes, from the studios they have. Can we get games from them first? And then once we start seeing the direction of Xbox and where they're going with the games, I don't mind you going out there buying studios to get bigger. I'm tired of the acquiisition talk. I just want to see the games from it now.
My question would be, is acquiring the studio taking away from anything money from actually making the
developing games?
Because if it is, then stop it. Like,
my goodness.
Let's go.
Hold on, chat. Let's stop the show right there. Did you see how simple that was, chat? I've been asking ponies this for the last 3 years, and no one's been able to explain as simple as that. That was beautiful. Stop buying things until you can start producing games because it's a possibility that you buying things is distracting you or taking financial money, whatever, from being able to develop.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know if that's the case.
Right, we don't know if that's the case.
Maybe there's a checkbook here for games and there's a checkbook there for acquiring studios. We'll never know. I mean, this is a $1 trillion company. They've got the money to do so. It's just whether or not they're actually giving them that kind of money.
That makes sense.
Hargi Johnny, thank you very much for the super chat, brother. It's good to see you. He says Ninja Theory's first game was funded by Xbox when no one else would take it on. The studio literally exists because of Microsoft. Great. That's which game was that, by the way?
But was it grown organically in their backyard?
Well, no, we can go back.
Good soil.
We can go back. I mean, with Bethesda. Bethesda had so much of a great relationship with Microsoft since the OG Xbox days. And it's funny when you saw people like talking crap about that, saying they're taking games away from us and it's not organic. And I'm like, it's just as organic as anything you've done with any other studio at PlayStation. Bethesda was there on the Xbox OG. They were working together way back then. And remember, this is when the whole microtransaction thing came out, and they used the horse armor for the first time on the OG Xbox, and my dumbass bought it.
I heard your story about that.
Oh man, I was so pissed.
You was mad.
That's when I figured out that microtransactions were bullshit. That's when I figured it out. Horse armor, that many years ago. Because I was a young adult at the time, and I was looking at this going, man, this is going to be cool. It's going to do something to my horse. It's going to have more armor. It's going to be... And no, it was just cosmetic, and you didn't even get to see the shit. It's a first-person game. Like,
damn.
No, you got to see it in third, but it just looked real janky, and it was just... And it had no stats or anything. I was confused on it until I bought it, and I was like, this is bullshit. Never again.
And never bought another one.
JD Gamer again, thank you very much. He says, question for the panel. Sony in the PS2 era had variety in first and third party. I don't believe they are a company, that company anymore, but I do think Microsoft is. If you were Phil, what would you do to promote variety? He's right on one thing before we answer that. Back then, they did kind of push more variety in their games. And then they found, I think it was with The Last of Us at the end of the PlayStation 3 generation. That's the catalyst, I think, that really pushed them to the third-person cinematic genre.
I think it was Uncharted that did.
You don't think Uncharted? Yeah, you don't think Uncharted?
Uncharted was a big one, but I think The Last of Us was like massive, solidified that. I think The Last of Us, with the numbers that made, was just like, boom, this is it. Like, and that's really what a lot of people would say won them the generation at the end. Was that Last of Us? But you're right.
Won a generation because Xbox stopped making first party games.
Because you could even go back to Metal Gear Solid. I mean, Metal Gear Solid had a lot of cinematics and stuff in that game.
That was a 4-hour movie.
But like I said, The Last of Us, and you're right, Uncharted, that was another one, that a big franchise that did that for them. But they, ever since The Last of Us, everything is like cinematic.
Yeah.
With their first party.
Yeah.
But what would he do to promote variety?
I mean, that's kind of what Game Pass is, honestly.
Yeah,
Game Pass is Game Pass is literally there for you. Like, you know, it's like for the hardcore, you know what first party games are coming day and day. So you're not really worried about the hardcore buying into the ecosystem because they know why they're there. But for everybody else, it's the totality of all the games that's coming to the service. So even if they're like, I tell people all the time when they come into the store, I say, yeah, this is good. If you got kids and you don't know what they want to buy or what you want to buy them, just get Game Pass. They'll literally find something going through all the games. So it won't just be a way of just saying like, oh, this is how we promote RPGs and JRPGs and first-person shooters and RTSs and stuff. No, you just say, hey, Game Pass, over 300 games, is actually more than that now. And this is your vehicle to get, basically to test out and see what type of gamer you are. Because that's the thing. Most people don't even know what kind of gamer they are until they try a bunch of different games. Like, I morphed significantly since I was younger. Like, when I was younger, I was all about sports games.
Yeah, you changed.
NBA,
you definitely changed.
Then I went through my RPG phase. You know, all of the Final Fantasies. I was a Dragon Quest person, and then I went to shooters. So your taste in games change as you get older and as games influence you. And I think that's the thing that Game Pass will do for you. It would actually show you what kind of gamer you truly are. And that's the variety that they need to just keep on pushing.
Or let you try different games. Forte, there's plenty of people out there that say, I know what type of games I like, but the reason you say that is because those are the only types of games that you have played. And now it's a good testament to Game Pass because I've been able to play different games and I've enjoyed them. One of the way that I would answer it, they should do things more like they did with Hi-Fi Rush. Like Hi-Fi Rush is a game that I would have never played unless they shadow dropped it. And a lot of people spoke about it, and I was like, okay, it's on Game Pass. I have availability to play it. Tried it, played it, loved it. I have never played a rhythm game like that in my life, and I would have never looked that way. Ever. Would have never looked that way. You know what I mean?
I was the same way with As Dusk Falls. That game looked hot trash to me when I saw it, but because it was on Game Pass, I played it, and it was more of a kind of a telltale sort of game. With a good little story and stuff. But the story was so compelling, and it was a fun little romp that I went through it like 3 times. because they had different endings.
Yeah.
And I would have never played that game. I saw that on the showcase and I was like, that game looks ass. I'm not playing it. But no, that game was really good. I really enjoyed it.
The best thing to me about Game Pass is that it's removed my necessity to look at reviews. I have learned this generation that just because you don't like something, I may like it. For me, I know this is unpopular opinion. I thought Scorn was amazing. Wow. When I be scoring live on stream. I couldn't believe. I thought how beautiful the story of Scorn was, because it's so deep. Again, y'all might not get it. You might not get it, but that's okay. And same thing with Atomic Heart. A lot of people didn't like Atomic Heart. I liked Atomic Heart. I thought it was good. Yeah, but it's okay. That's the thing. It's okay to like different things. On that other platform, you have to like third person, over the shoulder, cinematic games. If not, you have nothing.
And even then, it's hit and miss for me lately. This generation.
Oh, talk about it.
For me, like there's a big, like, and people know here on this show, I've talked about it before many times. So I'm not going to harp on it too much, but Horizon Forbidden West is boring to me. It's just too much. It's too wordy, too much dialogue. And I like dialogue in games,
did you beat
but it's not great. No, I can't get myself to beat it. And I've got like 50 hours in that thing.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Zero Dawn. I thought Zero Dawn was amazing. So I played Forbidden West thinking it was going to be similar. And I grinded to the end and I beat it. And when I tell you I beat that game and it felt like this game could have ended like 6 hours ago.
Wow.
And it would have been perfect. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you,
I didn't like the fact that you had the dialogue wheels and you'd be talking and then they'd open up more wheels and more wheels. And you're sitting there talking for like 20 minutes and there's nothing, like you're just talking. And I'm like,
there's an art to that though. Like Mass Effect does that really well.
Facts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's an art to that. Yeah.
That's the difference though. Like it was boring dialogue and people were just raving about the NPCs in Forbidden West. And I was like, they're boring though.
Yeah, they are.
It looks beautiful.
Looks beautiful. It's a gorgeous game.
It's a good. It's a good looking girl with no soul. So Dark. This question I got to ask you: Zero Dawn. How did you get past Meridian? Because that was my stopgap for that game. Like when I got the Meridian, it turned into a snail's pace, and I started looking at it, I was like, this is boring, and I don't want to do it no more.
In Zero Dawn, which one's Meridian?
The first major city you come to. The
castle. So here's the thing. The story of Zero Dawn is what captivated me because I wanted to get to the end and find out what this world was all about because it had like a strange religious undertone to it.
Yes,
you know what I mean. So that's what kept pushing me through. But I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed. Now I'm not a big side mission guys. Yeah, I'm not a big side mission guys. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the concept. I enjoyed how she was finding out who she was and all this other stuff. And it was a big mystery. And then at the end, you find out that, she's a clone or whatever. Sorry, spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't played it. But when the second one came around, I thought it was going to be, storytelling wise equal. And it went so far. The reach was just too much. And now there is going to be a third one, guys, just so you know, because the way that it finished, there's definitely going to be a third one. But I agree with Fonz. It just felt too long. So for Zero Dawn, for me, the story is what kept me engaged to keep playing. And that has to happen. So God of War Ragnarok is the game that I couldn't finish.
Okay. So I've got a love-hate relationship with Ragnarok. I love it and I hate it. And let me tell you why. The first 10 hours, I would say, I was bored to tears. I think there's way too many puzzles in 10 hours. The first freaking 10 hours, and I'm not exaggerating. It was the first 10 hours for me. Too many puzzles, too much walking around, not enough combat. I don't care what anybody says. That first 10 hours is like that. After that, I thought it was fantastic.
Did you beat it? You beat it, Fonz?
Yes.
I couldn't finish that one. Not yet.
I got it. So I bought my PlayStation 5.
Hey, did you get another dislike, Fonz? Did you get another dislike?
No.
So I bought my PlayStation 5 for God of War. I love God of War. God of War 2018 was incredible.
Amazing.
It was so incredible. I was looking forward to Ragnarok, and I think I'm where you are, Fonz. It came out during the holidays, so it's already a bad time for me with working and everything. But then it was like I was playing it and I just couldn't, like with 2018, I was able to push through. Like I would come home, I couldn't wait to get into 2018 and play it. I was like, oh, I would play 4 or 5 hours, be up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. They got to be to work at 8:30. That's how it was with 2018. With this one, I jump in. An hour later, I'm like, I'm tired, I'm bored, I'm going to sleep. And then I'll go 3 days not play it. And then I haven't turned on Ragnarok in probably since, I'm going to say January. Because I'm at that. No, I didn't. I'm at that point.
You haven't beaten it?
No, I haven't beat it because I'm at that point where Fonz is talking about where it's so many puzzles and there's so much exposition that's going on in the game. Whereas it's like, I don't care about this. Can you please let me hit something?
This is what messed me up, okay? The beginning of Ragnarok, okay, it felt like God of War 2018, all this stuff. I was like, oh man, this is probably going to be rough because it felt like playing 2018 again, which I actually like 2018, but I don't want to play the same game over again, okay? But anyways, I got to play as Atreus, and I freaking loved it. I was like, okay, that's here we go. I'm shooting bow and arrow, even though I made fun of it. Bow and arrow. I'm turning into a freaking bear or whatever he turns into, and I'm killing people, all this other stuff, right? And I'm enjoying it. And then I got back to playing as Kratos. And when don't like playing as the main character of the game, there's something wrong.
You're a rare breed. A lot of people were complaining about playing as Atreus, and they
hated Atreus' part.
Yeah, they love playing as Kratos. But for me, I liked both. I thought they were
that's good.
To play.
I'm glad you
really enjoyed that, and I thought the game was fantastic at the end. I thought it was really solid. But that first 10 hours killed my score for that game big time. That is. Overall, you have to look at the whole package with these games, right? Yeah. If you don't have me in the first couple hours, that's bad. Like having me sit there drone on with puzzles and walking and stuff for 10 hours is just too much. But anyways, I don't want to go on with that. That's a little too far. We're JD Gamer, thanks very much for the super chat. He says, PlayStation, not everyone wants to play just one type of game. No, they don't. No, sure. Some people do though. There's some people out there that just loves to play third-person action adventures. PlayStation remake and remaster, make something new. That's from Jax82. Thank you very much, Jax. We've got William Lewis here, who says, "I want PlayStation exclusives for. I play PlayStation exclusives for story, not gameplay." Wow.
At least he's being honest.
Yeah, I gotta have both.
At least he's being honest.
Yes, he is. He is. Yeah, I gotta have both. William Lewis
play
says,
PlayStation games with one hand. You just press X.
Oh, it's the same message. Sorry, I put it up on the screen again. JD Gamer, thank you very much. He says, right now console down 20%, PC down 30%, phone. Oh no, 20%. He's saying for console, 30% for PC, 45% for phone, and 5% for cloud. So why would any company limit themselves to just consoles? Sony is way behind in this. I think those are the percentages of gamers out there.
Probably. Phone might be higher than that though.
No, I think he's talking about just for Xbox.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And that's even 5% on people playing on mobile for Xbox through cloud. It's kind of, it's a good amount of people.
Well, the eye-opening thing that we got from the ABK testimonies and stuff was that console is literally last when it comes to most played for Call of Duty, and then it's the lowest revenue generator for Activision Blizzard.
What was Whereas
the highest was mobile, of course, at one point it was 1.9 billion. Then it was PC. PC was 1.25 billion. Console was last at 1.19. And then if you look at the breakdown, which was this is even more interesting, the breakdown of that 1.19 on console, PlayStation was 800 million of it. And that left PlayStation was 800 million of it. And then Xbox was the other like 700 or something million of it. So it was like kind of neck and neck. But the biggest thing that people got to realize is the reason I think PlayStation makes the moves that they made. Think of the people that were in charge of PlayStation back then. You had Jack Tretton, you had Sean Layton, you had Andrew House, people that were mostly about the ecosystem, about the platform, about the system. When Sean Layton left the company, the first thing he did in his tweet was say they were so proud of leaving PlayStation in a great place when it came to the sales and metrics of how PlayStation was. They had just hit 120 million systems sold at that point, and he was very proud of that. But what the difference is now, PlayStation is trying to be what Xbox is, and that's why they have Jim Ryan there, because Jim Ryan used to be the CFO of the company running the European market, which was one of the biggest growing markets inside of PlayStation. So now you got a money motivated person running the whole company. So when he's making moves that is trying to basically say, how can we, instead of saying, how do we sell more systems? He still wants to sell systems, but now his idea is, how do I make more money? How do I bring more money to the platform to be able to build that ecosystem? And that's why you see numbers like
you resell the same game.
That's why you see a bunch of remasters. That's why you see every game they do is got a remaster, and I'm shocked that Bloodborne isn't one of them, because that's how you print money. But that's why you see, Jim Ryan making the moves he has, because he's a money motivated person making money motivated things that he knows his ecosystem is going to be able to push and sell. And that's why games are going to PC faster than they used to before.
It's just so funny. I go back to that whole fanboy narrative of, we don't play old games over here. And then all of a sudden, all these remasters and remakes come out, and they're like loving them.
Right. Well, remember the other narrative was you buy a console for its exclusives. You don't need an Xbox because you could play those games on PC. But now that narrative has to change. You only need a PlayStation for time exclusives. And that sounds crazy to say. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That sounds crazy to say.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I got a PlayStation for timed exclusive, because they're all going to PC. They've dropped their biggest franchises on PC. What's
yeah, they're all going to PC.
They're all
and they've stated that it's going to be a year out that they get on there. But still, there's a lot of PC gamers that will wait that year. They'll simply wait. Right. Highlander 001, thank you very much. He says, Game Pass saves me money. Of course, me too. He says, I have it. And I have it for my kids. Same here. It allows me to buy games I want, not in Game Pass. I need a family plan. Oh, I got you. Yeah, family plan is coming. That's very soon, actually. And that'll be good for a lot of people.
I think they canceled it to restructure it because of the price of the way that they did core and everything. Because they did announce that they were getting away from what they had before. But I think they got it really because they're about to restructure everything they're doing now.
Yeah. Now, let's go to a little fun topic here. Now, recently we found out about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Apparently, people, you don't have to use the power of the super fast PlayStation 5 SSD to run this game.
You don't say.
Yeah, matter of fact, let me get this set up here. Matter of fact.
Oh, no.
You can run it.
Oh, flash memory.
He got a video.
You can run it here on a Steam Deck. You don't need a super fast PlayStation 5 SSD. Imagine that. It's crazy. What do you guys think about this? Doc, what did you think about when you heard this?
I didn't think you were going to show a video like that early. I thought you were going to let the chat start arguing and stuff, and then bam, but wow. No, listen, they flat out embellished the truth. If we want to say that, if we don't want to say that they lied, they embellished the truth, right? And the funny thing about language, right, is that there's things that are said literally, and then there's things that are implied, right? Both you gentlemen are married, correct?
Yes.
If I was to go to your house and I said, "Wow, Miss Forte, I could tell your Gym Gluteus Maximus routine is amazing." I didn't say your wife had a nice behind, right? But I'm implying, right? This is the game that these PlayStation fanboys are playing with. And I remember, Fonz, like it was yesterday,
the narrative of them eating that up, that this game could, they're actually using the power of the PS5. What game is actually using the Series X? They're using the fast SSD. That's why this game is only on PlayStation 5. I remember that, and I had nothing else to say. Like, damn, man, even the developer said it. I mean, okay, I guess it's true. But now it can run on a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And what they're harping on, this is how they're so disingenuous. These phony fans. They're saying, but you see, it can't run on a hard drive. Let's take away the hard drive. Let's say you're right. It can't run on a hard drive, even though newer hard drives can still run it. Let's take away that. That's not the point. The point is it said a PS5 SSD. So unless the PS5 SSD, there was nothing equivalent to it or anything like that at all. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It can run on a Steam Deck. You're telling me that the Steam Deck has a SSD as powerful as a PS5?
No.
Is that what we're going to say?
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not. That's not what we're
so
saying.
they're not on it.
Now, it definitely has its issues. You know, there are hiccups, and you saw in the video, there's some slowdowns and stuff that happen on the Steam Deck. But again, it's nowhere near the power as the super fast SSD of the PS5. But it is still playable. But IGN had an article they wrote, and they put this out there with the headline saying, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart on PC is basically unplayable without an SSD. And they're talking about a PC. Unplayable, they say. And then you read the article. I don't know if you guys read it, Forte.
No,
did you read this article?
Yeah, I did.
Basically, within the article, they contradict themselves. It is very playable in the game. Well, what did you think about this, Forte? I mean, obviously clickbait, right?
Okay, so the biggest thing that I took from just this whole scenario in general, which was crazy, you know, as soon as they announced that this game was only, I had to like literally step back and say, I got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're talking because they're saying this wasn't doable on the PlayStation 4, so they're comparing themselves to their older system. But when they kept saying that, people kept saying, oh, it won't even work on a PC. I was like, dude, listen. I have a 980 Evo Pro in my computer right now that I had since before the PlayStation 5 came out.
Ooh, talk about it.
And that hard drive runs Rift Apart very well. Like Fonz said, do you still get the little stutter? Absolutely. That little stutter does happen every once in a while. But that's because the game was made from the ground up to be played on a PlayStation 5. So they built it in that fashion where it takes advantage of every little thing the PlayStation 5 has. Now, when it comes to PC, you try to tell me if this game was coming to PC day and day or coming to PC only, that they couldn't have made that game run just as good as it's running on the PlayStation 5.
They couldn't have done the Rifts. The Rifts were too difficult, Forte. It was too difficult.
Listen, man, what was too difficult was the fact the Rift, the thing that was difficult is the fact that they wanted to use that as a promotion to say, hey, this is the one up for our system. Xbox was talking about the power narrative. The PlayStation 5 had this SSD. So they had to find a way to market the difference in, performance to say, well, our system may not be as powerful as theirs, but we got the secret sauce when it comes to this SSD, and loading times are going to basically disappear. And for the most part, they were absolutely right. And it runs phenomenal. It does run better on a PlayStation 5 than it does on a PC, even a really good PC. But we're talking about the 1% of the 1%. It's not even close to what they said. And even the fact that you could even install this game and run it on a regular platter drive is ridiculous. And as soon as I saw the Steam Deck, I was like, it's over.
It's over. Yeah, it's a wrap. It's
over. You can't argue about it no more. So once again, I always tell people this: don't try to have an opinion about something unless you absolutely know what you're talking about, because all you're going to do is catch L's later on. And that's all people are doing right now is catching L's, because being a person that plays on PC, I don't have to say, oh, it can run on a PC. I can just be like, okay, if that's how you feel, let's find out when it finally does come there, and let's see exactly what happens.
I think Boba Fett Gaming in the chat is 100% right. It's the fact that Insomniac used the word impossible to run without the PS5's SSD.
Mm-hmm.
They said that it was impossible to run. And a lot of people are attributing that to them saying that they were just comparing, to the PS4's hard drive and everything. But were they really saying that? Because I remember people bringing up PCs and they're like, no, the PS5 SSD is a much better SSD than anything on the PC. Do you remember that? I mean, I do.
Let me ask you this: do you think this game could run on the Series X?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could it have ran on the Series X at launch?
Yes.
Okay, exactly. SSD is not magical. If it could run on a Steam Deck or a Rogue Ally, yeah, it's SSD is not magical. What they did was they tricked us. And for people like me that I'm not technologically sound, I heard it. I know what I believed. I was like, wow, PlayStation actually got a game that's using like that whole narrative of why you need exclusives so they could focus on one SKU and all sorts of stuff. Like, wow, there it is. There's a proof. There it is. Oh my God, man, these ponies are right. They're galloping all over the place. And now that gallop looks like a baby giraffe when it comes out. I don't know. They looking.
Somebody got a nail stuck in their hoof.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy to me. Pragmatic Eagle, thank you very much for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. He says remasters aren't a surprise, folks. Jim Ryan said before the PS5 released that this gen will have significantly less games. He said the games they do make will just be bigger. It's the one thing he didn't lie about.
You know why that is a amazing statement from Jim Ryan. Like I said earlier, how do you make more money? You repackage what you already did, put the little effort you need to do to build it back up.
Yes.
And then you make more money off of what you already sold before. And you don't spend more money or you don't spend as much money on new things.
Yes.
And you also make bold
all facts.
claims.
Let them keep going. It's facts.
Yeah,
you also
make
right now, Forte.
Yeah, you also make bold claims about games you do put out on your PlayStation 5. Like, say, Miles Morales was built completely from the ground up on the PlayStation 5. Remember that, Jim? No, it wasn't built from the ground up for the PlayStation 5.
Was that game day and date on PlayStation 4?
Yes. You got a dislike for saying that, by the way. But hey, it's not my fault they put out DLC as standalone content.
Oh man, I won't call it DLC. Don't call it DLC.
It's a 6 hour. It's a 6 hour game.
Let's go, Fonz. Let's
6 hour game.
let's go.
And let me tell you, I loved it. I loved it. I played the hell out of Miles Morales.
DLCs can be good.
I thought it was great.
You saw.
But
you liked
it was
the side
6
quest?
hours. It was 6 hours. I clocked in 6 hours on that game.
Damn.
That's more like a side quest.
And,
you didn't go back.
And I was playing a couple of the side quests too. I didn't just mainline it. I played a few of the side quests. I just got tired of them because it was like, help me find this beat, and I was like, what? Like you hear the mixtapes and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like I want to fight, I want to do stuff. But anyways, it was expensive DLC. It really was.
Wow.
Crazy.
Crazy.
I still maintain that. I never shied away from that. I was one of the first guys to say it, and people came at me for it. So it's nothing new if they come at me again. It's
you know what hurts me the most about this whole SSD story is the fact that Ratchet and Clank is a good game.
It is.
And now it's being used as something like, hey, this is the game that Sony lied again. Because didn't they say something crazy like that about Godfall too?
Yeah, Godfall was said that it couldn't have. I think that same thing. It couldn't have ran without the PlayStation 5's super fast SSD.
And guess what? A year later, it came to what platform?
Xbox,
PS4, right?
PS5. I mean, Xbox Series X, and PC.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy, but yeah, they've made a lot of bold statements, and it's just they've got egg on their face now. Sony does, and a lot of people that backed them do. Their fan base is looking pretty silly at times.
And let me say something to the fans out there: if you're a PlayStation fan that didn't say this about the SSD, then the shooters and fits, don't worry about it. But don't pretend like there wasn't people out there acting as if this was gospel. Like, let them take their L's. You don't got to take it with them. That's perfectly fine. Okay. The same way there was Xbox fans comparing the Series X to a 2080. I remember it. And clearly it's not that, right? If you're not one of those people, no, you don't got to defend somebody else. It is what it is.
MR2 in the chat says that they also said that Unreal Engine 5 can only run on the magical SSD of the PlayStation 5. Wow. I don't remember that one, but
I don't remember that one either.
Sony says that they're going to sell 40 million PS5, or they sold 40 million, but they expect to sell this year alone 18 million PS5s.
Oh,
that's a 56% rise in sales. Do you think that that's going to happen this year? You are the man to talk about Forte, or talk to about this, because you are a manager at GameStop. Do you see this 56% rise in sales of the PlayStation 5 this year?
Listen, PlayStation has a Spider-Man system that comes out this year, so this is their best chance of hitting that 50%.
Yep.
But when you say,
but you can buy the plates too, people.
You can buy the plates. You can buy the plates.
I bet you they're going to make those plates so scarce.
They're already sold out everywhere.
Oh, see?
Aren't they scalped already? Don't they have them scalped already?
Yeah, they're scalping for almost $300 just for the plates.
But I bet you there wasn't that many of them made. They did that purposely. They want you to buy the whole console again. That's what they're going to do.
So if I had to put sales hat on when it comes to this, it mostly comes down to Spider-Man is their best opportunity to do it because it's one of the biggest IPs. It's one of the games that hit 20 million for them during last generation. Now, that's the estimate that they want to sell. They're not going to come close to that number. They're not going to come close to that number. 18 million is the stretch number.
Wow.
Because most companies give you a stretch number. They'll probably sell closer to like 13, 14. They're going to get still great. They're going to sell a lot of PlayStations this year, and it ultimately really depends on how many of those Spider-Man systems they are going to produce, and if they're going to have any other bundles that's going to come out during the holiday season. Because I can easily see them selling 3 or 4 million of just a Spider-Man system by itself.
Well, let me ask you this, Forte. When did they alleviate their problem on getting production and everything and actually putting PS5s in your stores?
Holiday last year.
Okay, so that was pretty recent. We're talking 7 months ago. So within 7 months' time, I'm sure they sold a lot of PS5s. They plan on selling 13 million this year. But how about this? How about the fact that all these people, a lot of these 40 million owners now, have just recently bought their console in the last 7 months.
A lot of them have.
Okay. And next year they're planning to bring a Pro out at the end of the year. How would you feel about that? How would you feel about that if you just bought a console?
No, we are not going to start this. We ain't going to start this. We ain't going to start this. Listen, man.
Fonz, I would be upset.
Fonz, how long have you had your PlayStation?
I've had it since March of the following year that it came out.
Within a year of it coming out,
within 4 months, I would say.
4 months. What about you, Dark? How long you had yours?
I got my PS5 around the time that you said it became available at GameStop. So last Christmas, around that time.
So how would you feel, Doc, if the Pro does materialize next year?
Yeah, you're a better case study for this. How would you feel?
Honestly, I feel like I should have waited.
That's what
I feel like I feel like I should have waited. I feel like I should have waited, especially since the Series X is more than holding me over. I should have waited for the PS5 Pro to see exactly that leap in power. But now
let me put this out to you.
I'm gonna be upset. But
here's a scenario for you, Doc. Let's just say, for sake of argument, the PS4 Pro, PS5 Pro drops, and every game is dropping at 60 frames, 4K.
Wait, hold on. Believe me, my last. I got it when the Horizon bundle came out. When was that?
I think that was a year and a half later. Almost 2 years later.
When they were selling it with the Horizon bundle.
Yeah.
It
was almost 2 years. 2 years. 2 years.
Okay, that's what I got. Okay, because you had to buy the Horizon bundle. It came with a controller charger. You remember, right?
Yeah, that was at the beginning of the year last year.
Okay, that's when I got it. Okay, there you go. Yeah. That's when I got it. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's say it runs every game. Let's not even go 4K. That's a little extreme. Let's say it runs every game dynamic 4K, 60 frames on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and it's a smooth 60 with every game. That would piss me off, bro.
I'm there day one.
I'd be hot. Because
I'm there day one with no problems.
If I just bought a system within the year, I'd be so mad.
It depends what's the trade-in value of the PS5.
Well, that's another thing too.
Yeah, what is
right?
Could we trade in the PS5 right now?
Right now, PlayStation 5 traded in for, I think it's like $390 traded in.
Yeah, you know, I messed up real big. I was supposed to trade in my PS4 Pro a while ago, but I just never did. And now
I never
I'm
did.
not going to get anything.
You know how
for it,
much?
you know what I mean?
You know,
But at one
so-
point, they were giving a lot, right? For PS4
They were?
Pro.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you know, when I traded my PlayStation 4 Pro in, my Spider-Man system, when I traded it in towards the PlayStation 5, I got close to $300 for that PlayStation 4.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I'm glad I didn't do that because I didn't know about the that you had to pay for the cloud saves. So I had to manually transfer everything off my old PlayStation 4
That's
Pro.
Crazy.
So if I had sold it, I would have lost all my saves.
You would have lost all your stuff.
I'm telling you, I would have been so pissed off. I would have probably returned that PS5. I would have been so mad, like because I was in the middle of playing like Ghost of Tsushima and stuff. I was having a blast with that game, and I wanted my saves. Nope. Gotta pay for it.
So if I answered that question directly, if I was a person that just bought a PlayStation 5 and they did it, that means I'm not in tune to everything that's going on.
Yeah, you have to be clueless.
You have to be clueless to it to not know. I would be upset, but I also would kind of be like, am I really the target audience for a PlayStation 4 Pro? Because to me, I feel like people that buy systems day one, they're buying because they like the new tech, they like to be cutting edge, and they like the power. Like the reason I bought my Series X is because I wanted to be able to play games at a better resolution, better frame rates, overall performance is better. So I wasn't waiting to do that. I was going to do it as soon as it happened and as soon as I get my hands on it. So being a person that bought a system over the last year or last 7 or 8 months since Christmas, I just don't. I mean, there are some people out there that are kind of like they just couldn't get one because it was hard to find. But the majority of everybody that really wanted a PlayStation 5, let's be for real, they probably got one.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Forte. I got a lot of heat for saying this on RDX. You were there.
Yeah.
I stay, and people quoted me on Twitter. I was like, videos were sent out. People were just talking shit. But I'm sorry I feel this way, gamers. But I feel like this generation barely started this year because they finally got over the cross-gen gaming. Both of these consoles have seemed to just focus on this current gen. So once that started, I feel like this generation's barely starting. Why do we need a Pro model right now? Because I feel like we're just getting started.
Well, that's because you beta tested for the first 3 years like we always do. It just feels more apparent this year because of, you know, let's be for real, COVID, that 1 year of COVID is like this really big moment where a lot of the world just shut down, gaming included.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah, exactly. And
so I don't disagree with you. I can definitely, in this scenario, I can understand the frustration of somebody that bought a system and they're already coming out with another one. Yeah. But I still feel like technology moves so fast at this point. It's like they're either going to release if anything, a lot of people were thinking Pro systems weren't going to come out this generation. They were just going to jump to a new generation because they said either this generation is going to last longer because of COVID, or they're just going to start a new generation faster because these systems now, they're still good, but compared to what we have in technology wise, they're already far behind.
Well, I don't know. Are they good? Aren't there games on the PlayStation running at like what's that Final Fantasy game running at?
It depends on what you. Well, see, this is the thing. It depends. See, the thing is, developers don't give you the option to be able to tinker on console.
Yeah. Okay.
If they were to give you the ability to tinker,
but that's not
and run games.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying.
It's
but
not a good excuse only because we've not had that ability in the past generations, right? And we still
should have been had that ability as of with these systems.
Yeah, but I think that you can't give console owners too much tinkering because there's a lot of console owners that don't want to tinker at all.
We don't want it, right? We don't want it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I get it, but I see your point too, Forte. Like, what's wrong with giving people an option? You know,
that's all we care about is options.
Especially when it comes to like main features like ray tracing, for instance.
Yeah, turn that off.
You know how many games have ray trace shadows that make no sense? It hardly make any difference at all, but it bogs the game down. let me turn that shit off. Let me turn it off. I don't want it.
Right.
Give me 60 frames instead of that.
Right.
I'll take 60 frames over, a lot of different ray tracing features. Jedi Survivor is a big one that's notorious for the performance being bad, and it's to me, it's probably mainly due to that ray tracing being on. It's forced on the Series X. I don't know.
What do you think, Dark? Because I definitely overtalked you a couple of times.
No, you good. You good. So a PS5 Pro would upset me. It would, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't get it. I don't see myself going over there. I don't play PlayStation enough. But in the same token, an Xbox Series XS or whatever, Pro or whatever, would really get me mad, because this was supposed to be a very powerful console, and you can argue that the PlayStation in some games runs games better. Look, man, I got a PS4 Pro, but I got a PS4 Pro way after I spent the entire generation with the regular PS4, and that was fine. That was before, though, I knew anything about frames or all this technology stuff. I was just oblivious to all of it. But now that I hear you gentlemen talking about it, having a PS5 Pro come out and then dropping the price of the regular PlayStation could be an easy way for them to get to that sales goal.
Here's the problem with that, though.
True, that's true.
Here's the issue I take.
You got two different SKUs.
Here's the issue I take with that statement, though. The fact that 3 years into the generation, both companies have raised prices on their console. Do you really see them taking that away next year? I don't.
Didn't they say PlayStation price already started going down in some areas?
I don't know.
In the world? I thought that was something that was going around. Maybe
I don't know.
I haven't looked into it.
I haven't seen it, but the fact remains that in lots of parts of the world, that it's still $50 more expensive. And for us, it wasn't the fact that they didn't raise the price of it, but didn't they basically charge you for a pack-in game that they own?
Yes.
So essentially, you got the $50 upcharge anyway, but you got a game with it. It might not be the game you want to play, but there's a game there.
You'd be surprised how many people, and that was the funny thing, like so many people was buying these bundles. It was like, do I have to get that game? And I'm like, I'm thinking like it's God of War or it's Horizon Forbidden West. I was like, from what I hear in this community, these are amazing games that everybody wants to play. And I tell people all the time, I was like, you sold 130 million PlayStation 4s and you only sold 25 million copies of this game. And you telling me everybody wants to play it. And I tell people all the time, the majority of people that buy these consoles don't care about first party games.
Facts.
Don't care.
Protect 4K. Protect them.
Yeah, no, that's true.
They're going to come for him.
He's not wrong. Yeah, if you just look at the statistics alone,
that's why Microsoft bought the highest selling game on PlayStation.
If you look at all the games that are bought on PlayStation consoles, their exclusives make up a small percentage.
PlayStation fans are casuals.
Microsoft games are number 1 and number 2. Once they get the Call of Duty deal to go through and Minecraft,
bro. That's going to be crazy. The best-selling games on PlayStation are going to be my Xbox games.
But no, you know what they can do? And it kind of just hit me. They'll have a PS5 Slim come out, and that'll be the price drop.
Of course.
That'll be the big price drop. So,
are the panels going to work with it, though?
What'd you say?
Are the panels going to work with it, though? All these panels that people out here going to buy?
Nah, brand new side panels.
I have no idea.
They're going to make
brand new side panels. They're about hardware now. They're about hardware. They're going to sell the hardware.
True. Yeah,
that's why I said they're a lot like Apple, that proprietary stuff. They love that stuff. Like all these, you're not going to be able to use the old faceplates. It's brand new ones.
Yeah.
That was an ingenious thing. As much as people say, I don't like the panels, like, dude, that was ingenious.
No,
I'm glad they did that.
The panels are
that
cool.
was a good idea.
I don't like the ones they come with, but I love the D brand ones, the smaller form factor ones. I bought those. I won't buy the ones.
I had this dude on Twitter sent me a picture of his PS5. The plates are all black and have a Xbox logo on them.
Wow.
So it looks crazy. Yeah,
Wow.
it looks crazy.
That's a little bit too much.
Yeah, it look like so. Like if you don't know, you're like, what
my
is
gosh.
that? You know, it's like an Xbox. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
And guys, I'll get to super chats in a little bit, but you know what? That's crazy, but not as crazy as this next guy I'm going to show you guys.
Uh-oh.
All right. I'm sure you guys all saw this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. No, don't do this.
I got to.
This is my longtime friend and fellow Final Fantasy XIV fan.
Phil Spencer!
Phil Spencer! Phil Spencer! Phil Spencer, baby! Let's go! Yes! 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 Yeah!
You're losing his damn mind.
改めまして、マイクロソフトゲーミング CEO のフィル・スペンサーさんです。ぜひ大きな拍手をお願いします。
I am pleased to welcome the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Mr. Phil Spencer. A round of applause for him.
Look at that face. That man is crying. Now, Forte, I know you've seen this, and I see some people love this guy, some people hate this guy, some people. Here's my take on this, okay? And this, of course, is about the Square Enix and Yoshi P, Final Fantasy XIV, you know, coming together, coming to Xbox finally. But here's the thing. I think, personally, I think this man is not well.
Oh, come on,
come on.
Listen to this. I'm not hating. I'm not hating either. I'm not hating. Anybody who's this excited as a grown-ass man for another man who owns or who is CEO of a company or even if it's just the game in general coming to their platform. Well, here's the thing. He's yelling Phil Spencer and crying, okay?
Because he understands what that means.
But here's the thing. Even if it's the game, do you ever see yourself crying like this for a game?
Well, okay, no,
okay. The only time I've ever seen somebody getting this emotionally invested into something so trivial is my daughter when she was like 3. I have never come across even a grown woman. My teenagers cry about something so trivial.
Damn it, Fonz! When the Undertaker threw Mankind off the cage, I almost cried. I thought he killed him. I thought
a lot of people did.
Did you cry like this? Did you ugly cry like this?
Listen, in high school, if you told me wrestling was fake, we were fighting. I couldn't stand Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's the only thing I had to escape reality when I got home was Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
It was huge. It was big for me.
Okay.
People get married playing video games. What's that one video game where people meet each other and they get married and stuff? StarCraft. What is it? What's the game? Y'all know the game. League of Legends.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Yeah, that game.
Here's the thing.
I get accused of not having passion for this. This man is showing passion.
I don't think so. Yes. I'm just asking you. I'm just asking you about this.
I don't think so.
I will say this. I think this is all fake anyway.
No.
I think it's just full of it. I don't even think that's real.
No.
I don't think that's real at all.
Fine.
I don't.
All right.
I don't.
No amount of monetization.
There's no way he can be that emotionally invested into any freaking game where he's going to cry like this. He doesn't get. It doesn't look. If it's not tied to you monetarily, if it's not tied to you in any real way, like. This is trivial. This is nothing. Like it's a video game that you play. You can get emotionally invested into a video game, but not to the point where you're ugly crying and screaming Phil Spencer.
Fonz, you got arcades in your background right now. Fonz, what are you talking about? You love this stuff too.
No. That's not to me, that's not happy. That is weird.
Oh, fine.
Okay.
Man,
I see a lot of people disliking, but I don't care, man.
No. Listen, I listen. Your opinion
is wrong.
It's definitely wrong. But you're in a minority. You're in the majority on this. We're in a minority.
I am.
My
chat's with you guys. My chat's with you guys.
No.
Is there chat with us?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know the chat. Okay, so I'll tell you like this. Good job, guys. I'll tell you and I'll give you a story for myself. Fonz, I'm a New England Patriot fan. I've been since 1990. I've been a Patriot fan since look at the wall. Goat on the wall right there. See the goat on the wall. Goat on the wall.
Yeah, he's the goat.
Goats on the wall. So I've been a fan since 1998 for the Patriots. And I never really had a football team as a fan because the Lions sucked my whole life. So I was like jumping back and forth. So I literally finally found that team. And when they won, I felt like, yeah, I'm bandwagoning because this team's winning. But I'll tell you, 2017, the year that they were undefeated, they were in the Super Bowl. I was at my father-in-law's house.
Was that Peyton
watching
Manning?
The game? No, that was the New York Giants when they lost to the Giants.
Oh, Eli Manning. Yeah, Eli Manning.
The Eli Manning Super Bowl. I was watching. I was watching that game. That was a tough loss. I was watching that game, and literally,
weren't the Giants a wild card that year?
Yeah, they were the wild card that year. They had scored the Plaxico Burress scored the Super Bowl the touchdown
on the helmet. I was like,
oh. Yeah, the helmet catch. And I was sitting there like, oh my God, this game is ridiculous. There was like 1 minute and 15 seconds left, and they had to drive the field. And I was like, Tom Brady's going to do this. He's done it his whole entire career. We're going to pull this out. I'm sitting there on the couch, and Michael Strahan came around the corner and sacked Tom Brady. And I was like, oh no. And then the next play, they came around the corner and sacked them again. And in my heart, no lie, in my heart, emotionally, my wife looked at me and I didn't even realize it. She looked at me, was like, are you crying? Are you crying? And I felt my face and I was like, there is literally a tear on my face. And it wasn't because I also always think it was weird. I used to watch people on TV like, why are they crying?
Wait,
why are you crying?
But that's completely different to what this man just did.
No, it's not.
It is 180%.
Because you're invested, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I know firsthand why he felt the way he felt. Because my overall emotion.
That was fake. That's WWE acting right there.
Wrestling is not fake. Wrestling is not fake.
No, listen.
Real athletes.
Our overall emotions you never know when it's going to happen. But that was the moment when that tear came down my eye. I went from being a person that felt like he was just a person that supported the team to being like, this is my favorite team and this is my team forever. Ever, ever, ever. I will always feel, because I went from just being a fan to like being something more than a fan for that team. Yeah. And in his eyes, I'm gonna tell you right, that his name is Ginger Prime. He's on the Work the Game show. That's the name of their YouTube channel. He has been talking about Final Fantasy 14 coming to Xbox for 4 years. People been telling him it's never coming. He said it's never coming. And anytime this conversation always comes up, he says even when he's not playing the game, he always tells people this game should come to play. This shit should be on Xbox. And Phil Spencer, he's a huge fan of Phil Spencer, of course, like most of us are. But when Phil Spencer, it wasn't the fact that
Phil
listen, no, it's not the fact that it was Phil Spencer. It was the fact, like Dark said, Phil represented. As soon as you see Yoshi P come on the stage, you know it's got something to do with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I get that.
When he calls Phil Spencer to the stage, who is Phil Spencer? It's not that it's Phil Spencer. It's Xbox.
Look,
Xbox is on the stage at that point.
I'm not desensitized to the fact like I have no emotions or anything. I have emotions for things, but it's usually things that are more grounded in reality, not trivial things.
Damn.
I get emotional with some video games. Sure. I can play a video game and feel emotion. The Last of Us at the beginning of the game, very emotional, but I would never ugly cry and scream like that, like over a game. It's not happening, especially over a 13-year-old game. That's
what
weird.
Would you though? What's the trivial thing that you would? So like Forte shared that he would do it with football, right? For me, it was wrestling. I'm gonna feel when Mark Calloway passes away, I'm gonna feel some type of way, even though it's like trivial, right? But this is somebody that's been in my childhood
for years, and I remember being terrified of this guy and rooting for him and rooting against him and all that other stuff, right? So, but it's trivial because I don't really know him. He's just a character that was played on TV or whatever. But there's still some type of emotion to it.
My point is not the fact that you guys can't get emotional. No, everybody has they can get emotional, but screaming like that.
Well, you can't bottle. Listen.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you like this. Do you know what my emotions would have been?
Disagree on this one.
No, do you know what my emotion? Let me tell you right now. I literally had a tear running down my eye. Do you imagine on the next play if they would have threw a Hail Mary and scored the touchdown?
Oh,
do you imagine? It would have been over. I would have been screaming. Like when they came back and won that 28-3 game and they tied it against the Atlanta Falcons, I dolphin dived on the ground and my wife was like, "Oh my God, you're crazy." Because you're emotionally in it. So it's that's all it was. It was just true emotions. That's all it was.
I will say this right here too. I think a lot of the guys in my chat, they're the predominantly Xbox guys that are with this. I guarantee you, if this was a game coming to PlayStation or something, they'd be making fun of this guy all day long.
Never.
All day long.
You just can't, like, it's emotion. I just feel like you don't take.
Because
you may not agree with it.
I've seen other people do certain stuff like this, and I don't find it real. I don't. I just.
Have you seen like when LeBron James won the
I've seen LeBron James flop all the time. Yeah.
No. When he won the championship for Cleveland, have you seen the reaction videos of that? Like people lost their damn minds over that.
Yeah.
There's people that literally cry.
Yeah.
My father, I can tell you right now, my father-in-law, if the Lions were to make the Super Bowl and win it,
I don't have a problem with you tearing up or whatever. This guy is freaking ugly, crying and screaming a man's name.
He just won the Super Bowl, Phil.
He just won. His version of the Super Bowl just happened because he never. Right.
It's
and plus, you got to think he was think about it. Telling people for 4 years that a game is coming to a platform and people keep telling you no. That's an L after an L after an L every year. And guess what? You finally can say that L is gone. And everybody that told you it would never happen, you're basically like in your face, and then all your emotions just come out. So the biggest thing is, before we leave it, the biggest thing is we just got to understand is people have emotions.
Yeah, we're not. We're not leaving the topic because the overall topic is about Square Enix talking with Xbox again. And the biggest part of this is the fact that, they're going to get this 13-year-old game back, into Xbox for the first time. But here's the thing. This MMO is still huge, okay? You still got over 1 million players daily, 1.5 million or around that.
Really?
Every day. It's 40 million plus gamers play this game all the time.
What?
It's huge.
It's a lot. It's huge, bro.
Okay.
Really?
But this game is huge on the PC and PlayStation, of course. I used to play it back in the day. I think it's a really good game, a really good MMO. If you're into MMOs, it's a really strong one.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14. It's really good. It's really good.
It's really good.
So these hold on. Final Fantasy games don't follow sequences?
No. This is an online multiplayer. So it's got story elements in the game, and it is attached to that world, but it's its own thing. Like Yoshi P is really he's the guy that basically saved 14. He
definitely
turned things around there, and he's the one that made Final Fantasy 16 as well. So all the cinematics and everything within 16, you get that kind of stuff in 14 as well. However, there's a lot of game to be had with this game. It's it's for an MMO. It's really good. It's a really good game, but it's a 13-year-old game. That's not really what I really want to focus on. My thing is, like, I am like half skeptical on this situation and half like intrigued. Like they're talking with Square Enix now, and it's Phil's quote overall, where he says basically that we look forward to partnering closely with Square Enix on future games. Yeah. So does this mean that they've sort of reconciled it? Or was there anything to be reconciled over, Forte?
to this day, I still think the only thing that hampered their relationship was the ABK deal. Because I think if ABK didn't happen, you would see Crystal Dynamic, you would see IO Interactive, you would see all of those studios underneath Xbox right now. But the only thing that threw that a monkey wrench into that is the fact that ABK became available and Microsoft had to pursue that because you would be stupid not to. And that's why you saw the Embracer Group come in on the back end and say, and you see Square Enix get rid of all their Western developers, basically. So I think it was just a rub that what happened, just in that situation. But I think Xbox really was interested in all of those studios that, Square Enix had from the Western developer. And now that they got a new CEO, I think that has definitely helped smooth over the conversation. Phil Spencer basically ingratiated himself to that conversation. And if you looked at just the response of the CEO and Yoshi P with him on stage, they treated him like he was royalty up there.
Facts.
They did.
Body language matters.
Yeah.
Let's shake hands.
They said they basically went like to the point where Phil Spencer, listen, like he's
what that is, Forte? That's money switching hands. That's what that is. They're getting a lot of money out of this, obviously.
They are.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
More games on
Money
Game
makes
Pass.
people smile. Money
More
will make
games
people
on
cry.
Game Pass.
Hey, I'll ugly cry like that dude for some real money, for some good money. Yeah, I'll do that for some money.
Passionate. He was just passionate.
Hit that Powerball.
He got those clicks. He got what he wanted.
But I think that's the thing, though. I think in general, it's fine.
Doc, how do you feel about this deal? Final Fantasy XIV coming to the platform and, just Square Enix in general with future games, man.
The more games, the better. Xbox has got no games, right? So we need games.
We don't have no games.
Yeah, but Phil, go out there, get everything. Literally get everything. I don't care. Buy everything. I will play it. I will play it on Game Pass.
Yep.
I will play it. I will play it. I will give it a shot. I would never give something like Final Fantasy a shot, but you know what? If it's on there, why not? Let me try it.
See?
Why not? This doesn't hurt anybody.
That's interesting, though. Do you think that this will hit Game Pass? Because there is a subscription service for this game.
I think anything that Microsoft has done it to themselves. Anything that they announce as far as acquiring or having a partnership with has to have a Game Pass element to it. It's almost expected. Could you imagine if the Call of Duty doesn't come to Game Pass and it's owned by Microsoft? That wouldn't fly. Microsoft has to be. If you're talking about conversations and all this other stuff, like no, you gotta put it on Game Pass. It's got to be part of the deal. That's how you're gonna make it more enticing. And if you want it to be, because now you would only have to sell the subscription, or is the game free? Is the game free?
Mm-hmm. No, you got to pay. What is it, like 14 a month, 15 a month, something like
14
that?
14 a month.
Yeah.
But is the game itself free? So you buy the game and then you also got to pay 14 a month.
No,
Yes,
the game's free.
The game is free except for the expansions that they release.
Oh, I see.
Now I'm wondering if they're going to put like
we made it cheaper for Game Pass gamers.
I'm wondering if they're going to put it in Game Pass, like maybe a slice of it, and then you got to pay at a certain point. I don't know.
I believe you can play the game up to level 75 for free.
Well, that'll let you know whether or not you want to pay. For sure. 75 is pretty.
You could play up to 75 for free. They give you a 30. I think they give you a 30-day free trial. It's either or. It's the 30-day free trial, or if you hit 75 on your character, whichever one is first, and then you have to pay after that.
I played a lot of it at the beginning of PS4.
And it's $14 a month.
Yeah, I used to pay for it.
It's just like WoW.
My wife and I played it. My wife and I played it a lot back in the day. We both had characters on there. It's a really good game. And then I quit the game, and then she kept playing it for a while, and then she quit. But yeah, it's a really good MMO. If people are into MMOs, that's a good one to have. But I'm really interested in this whole, partnership, or at least, getting future games from Square Enix.
So maybe that game doesn't come to Game Pass, but maybe the future Square Enix games do.
Yeah, and also like just Phil talking with Square Enix, like I'm thinking, was he originally trying to feel them out, like maybe acquiring them?
Oh, that was happening.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, guys. You guys remember the beginning of the show when I asked you guys what is Xbox?
Again, if you guys would have answered any other way, this would have been completely different. But this proves that Microsoft does care about Xbox as you guys describe it, right?
Mhm.
Because they wouldn't have been doing all these moves and everything if they didn't care about Xbox. The disconnect is, do they care about Xbox the console, right, versus Xbox the ecosystem? So I think this is good overall.
I'm excited. When Game Pass first came out, I hated it. I hated the idea of it. That's what I should say. I used to say, nope, this is basically an indoctrination of digital gaming. I was against it. I was all physical back then.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I was just a staunch hater of this whole digital world and everything. I was an old man yelling at clouds, basically, 6 years ago. And then I saw the value in it. And when I started to feel that value, I was like, oh, no, I like this. I like this. Fuck those physical games. They can get out of my house. I'll rent from now on. I'm good. I like this because I'm going to play, a single player game once, and I'm done with it. Really, it's rare that I ever play a game twice. I sometimes do, but it's rare. But again, with Game Pass, like, man, I saw the value. I felt the value with my wallet, and I'm just like, me and my kids, we were like, this is it. Game Pass is the way.
Yeah.
So I want more games. So it's very exciting to see this trend. And look, I'm looking over at Sony, and when they do finally go day and date with their service, that's when I'll buy into premium. I'll buy premium. Straight up.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for that. But I like it. Definitely like it. So what do you think this does for the future of Xbox and Square Enix? I mean, of course, we're going to get some future games, whatever, but what would you like to see possibly on the Xbox Forte from Square?
From Square, I love the Octopath Traveler game. The first one was on Game Pass.
It was on Game Pass.
It was on Game Pass. Yeah. It was on Xbox and Nintendo and PC and Switch, but it wasn't on PlayStation. Whereas Part 2 is on all those platforms, but not on Xbox. I would like to see that game. Like, the thing about Square, I love them for their RPGs and like all the RPGs that they make, especially that only really make it to Nintendo platforms. That's what I want to see. That's another way of getting a lot of those JRPG type games into Game Pass or just into the Xbox ecosystem. So the fact that they have kind of repaired that relationship, we can get the games like Bravely Default and we can get the games like Octopath Traveler back in there. And then hopefully at some point we can finally get Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7. I think 7 is not going to come until the trilogy's over. I do think it's going to come, but it's not going to come until the trilogy's over.
So having played the remake and playing 16 now, I will say that I prefer 7 remake over
the combat's
16.
way better.
100%.
Combat's way better. Combat's way better.
Way better.
Wait. So there's a Final Fantasy 16, and they're talking about Final Fantasy 14. So the Final Fantasy 16 has nothing to do with 14?
No, it's just an MMO within that world.
So, okay, what about 7? Does 7 have anything to do with 16?
No.
Yes. No, they're all their own thing. They really are.
Okay.
But,
they just didn't want to. Okay,
but there's aspects of the story that do
persist.
Yeah,
like the world persists. Just the characters inside the world don't.
And there's 16 of them.
And there's 16 of them, and 2 of them are MMOs. 11 and 14.
And 14 is really good. Like,
so if you get stuck on, if you try 14, you can get stuck on it.
You could.
Oh yeah,
and forget all the other ones.
You
basically,
you could. But no, basically. Final Fantasy VII Remake is just the combat. I prefer it way more than I do 16.
It's way better. Way better.
Which should I start with? If I was going to start with one,
if you're going to start with one,
I've never played a Final Fantasy game. Which one should I start with?
Well, do you like turn-based or do you like action?
Only Pokemon.
Turn-based, yeah.
That's the only turn-based game that I've been able to go through and actually finish.
Oh,
then
what RPG? Okay, what RPGs
7
have
remake,
you played?
I would try 7 remake. Honestly,
have you played any RPGs?
No.
7
Unless you're gonna consider
7
Horizon
remake.
RPG.
No, 7 remake. That's my final answer.
Yeah,
It's
7
remake.
Seven
Yeah.
remake.
7.
Okay.
The
I
remake.
bet. 7 remake.
Yeah, it's really good.
How long is the game? 10 hours?
Not
12?
that long.
No,
It's probably like
30?
No. I think you can beat it in less than 20.
You can beat it in like 16.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
You can beat
30.
it.
If you're not like us and you like to complete and see all the dots on the screen disappear.
It's
I'm
really
good.
good
I'm
though.
good.
It's really good. The combat is fun too. You can do like a sort of a quasi turn-based thing and action. It's slow motion in there. Like it's cool. It's a lot better.
I
than
will
the
say this:
new
if you don't mind pixel art, if you like pixel art type, then go on your. Especially since you got a Steam of Rogue Ally.
Yeah.
Go to Steam and download the. They got the pixel art trilogy of all the Final Fantasies up until I think up to 6.
So
And you
Final
can download
Fantasy
those.
7 is $8 right now. on
If you do
game
the-
store.
Which one? The regular Final Fantasy 7 for PS4 or 5?
For Xbox.
That's the original.
That's
Is
the
it
original.
That's turn-based. Yeah.
That's not the one I want. I want
Now you want the remake, and the remake's not out for the Xbox, unfortunately.
Yeah, everything.
Oh.
They promised
yeah.
it years ago, and it never came to fruition.
Oh, yeah,
Sony
they
has
ain't
been
coming.
holding that game hostage for years.
Damn,
That game ain't
Sony
coming
doesn't-
until
It
the
ain't
whole
coming.
trilogy's out. You got to
Yeah.
play that on
Sony doesn't-
PlayStation or PC.
Okay.
But
Okay.
anyways, guys, I'm going to have to end the show because it's running on over 2 hours now, and I've got to go to work tonight. So I've
Work?
got to take a nap. Yeah, unfortunately. But look, I want to thank both of you for coming here today and just talking about this. Actually, before I go, let me read these super chats. I do not want to let them go. Game Punisher says, PlayStation's SSD is a marketing lie on par with Sega Genesis Blast processing. They pushed, remember that hype that was pushed? Yeah. Mode 7, however, was legit. Mode 7 on the Super Nintendo was really good. But yeah, Blast processing was kind of like a fictitious thing. Like it was nothing. Naricode 94, thank you very much. He says, guys, I was thinking earlier that Rockstar should remake The Warriors. Such a good game. Remember The Warriors? I played that game. It was pretty decent.
Played a little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't played that game in a while. Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, I remember that game. William Lewis, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, still strong rumor that PlayStation 5 Slim is coming this year. Yeah, I've heard that too.
Ain't coming this year.
I don't think this year, but we know it's coming. We don't know when, but eventually. Probably before the Pro comes out next year. How about that? So they can reduce the price of the Slim and then make you think you're getting a deal with the Pro and charging $650 for the Pro. Who knows?
God dang.
Dude,
That's crazy.
It's got to be charged. Like they got to charge quite a bit for that.
They gonna tell people to get another job?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe 6. Maybe 6. I don't know. My local Walmart is selling new PS4 Slims, Modern Warfare 2 edition. What?
I have
What?
some at my store.
Really?
I have 2 of them. Yep.
I thought they stopped production on PlayStation 4s.
They did in America, but they had them in Europe, and
Thank you,
they
William.
sent very small amount of them to America. I actually have 2 of them at my store.
Dang. JD
I haven't
Gamer with a
sold
super
one
chat.
yet.
JD Gamer says, panel, what do you think about the recent PlayStation price drop and will MS follow? Better
Yeah, I
yet,
thought that was something.
was it a mistake for MS to raise prices after PlayStation did anyway? Forte, tackle that.
Let's be for real, doesn't matter because the countries that they did raise those prices are the ones that they're kind of struggling in the most. So America hasn't raised. I think Japan hasn't raised. Japan is actually doing really, really well with their sales overall, and I believe most parts of Europe haven't raised yet either. But I do think once you see the Xbox Series S come out, the all digital, the black digital one,
Yeah.
I think you'll see prices equalize. But these are all companies that are trying to recoup money back from 2020. People don't think about it that way, but I always tell them, I was like, listen, the reason these companies are acting the way they're acting now is because it's lost revenue from 2 years ago, and they're trying to recoup it little by little until they're satisfied. Then you'll see everything go back to normal.
Gotcha. All right, JD Gamer again. He says, I got passion for games, and I'm hooting, hollering, yelling, and ugly crying if they ever tell me they're remaking Panzer Dragoon Saga RPG, not faking that. So yeah, he would ugly cry too if some game is coming out.
Yeah.
Look, I get it. I'm just saying that particular gentleman right there, when he did that, it just seemed forced. It seemed fake to me. It didn't seem right. It didn't seem real. That's all I'm saying there.
Gotcha.
Mac City Entertainment. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, Doc is my guy. This is the best episode, hands down.
Yo,
100.
Max City. Thank you, Max. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, you got a lot of fans the last time you were here, too. I appreciate you guys. And with that, Doc, thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate you, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, man. Because, that's one of my points here. Like, I'm not a big channel at all, but I do have a great following that does come here, and I want to spotlight people in the community as much as I can. Doc, you're one of those guys that I've been watching and just laughing at, man. Like, you got some great content. So let everybody know where they can find you.
I appreciate that. Thank you both, gentlemen. Thank you, chat, for being here. So you can find me at DocDark1985 on YouTube. It's the same thing for my Twitch channel. Same thing for my gamer tag is DocDark1985 on all platforms. So go ahead, send me a friend request, come through the channel. I do make a lot of console war type content. I don't take any of this stuff serious. I just like to have fun and laugh. So come on by and laugh with me. So
exactly. All right. And for Tay, let everybody know where they can find you, brother. Thank you very much, man. As always, I try to get you to come on sometimes, but we had that whole thing where you had notifications off and stuff like that. But man, I like it when you're on the show. You're great on RDX. You're great here. Thank you for coming, bro. Let everybody know where they can find you.
I appreciate it. And I turned those notifications back on because everybody kept yelling at me on Twitter. It's like, why ain't you responded to me? So I finally turned them back on. So, it's awesome to be here. Anytime you need me, Fonz, just let me know a week out, and then I'll be able to make it happen. Dark, it's always great to see you. Finally have a conversation with you in the real. It's nice to know that there's an other side of Porter Rock that's actually just as good, but
that's right.
Shout out to Porter Rock.
Always find it funny, like they're the same, but they're different. So it's also
that's right.
But for myself, Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube and Twitter, Xbox Live and PlayStation, DPS podcast, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. with the homie Slow-Mo Backslap. So check us out.
Check him out, people. Check them both out. Yes,
absolutely.
Subscribe to them both. They're awesome gentlemen here, and you are awesome for watching and listening today. I appreciate all you guys in the chat, all you listening on the streaming platforms. Appreciate you. Even the ones that disliked me for making fun of that guy is just cringe, but whatever. It's we disagree, okay, and we agree to disagree there. But I think he's full of it, or at least that part anyway.
Yes.
Guys, appreciate you. Thank you for showing, and until next time, game on.